We can begin.
Proceed.
So, welcome everyone. Good evening and welcome to Zumaridi's meeting. This is meeting 122. Yeah, so our 122nd meeting of the Zumaridi Club. My name is Anne Puthia. I'm the president and tonight's chair. And I want to welcome all the guests that we have, all our members that are participating in this meeting. And this is where, of course, we all know where ordinary people become extraordinary communicators. And it is such an honor to hold you tonight. And our theme tonight is Pause for Effect. What is your story? And trust me, by the time the meeting is over, you'll be itching to give your story. And I know our TMOD is ready and able. And before we dive in, word of the day, I'm sure you've seen it all over the wall, is lickety split. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Yeah. And if we all work together, I'm sure this meeting is gonna go lickety split. And now, as we continue for this meeting, like we always do, I would like to just observe a moment, and then we shall have our club pledge, the Toastmasters pledge, and I will just say it out loud as we say it in our hearts, because I know once the speaker is on for everyone, it'll be chaos. So Toastmasters International envisions empowering individuals to achieve full potential and realize their dreams. Through its member clubs, it provides supportive environment where people worldwide can enhance their communication and leadership skills, fostering courage, confidence, and personal growth. So I know we have many people in the room. I would like to see, do we have new guests? Do we have guests that are not members of Toastmasters with us? Joining us for the first time? You can put a thumbs up, a shout out, a wave. No one? I guess we are all experts in this.
No,
Evans, you can help me?
Sorry, I am trying to look for the thumbs up. I am a guest. Sorry.
Oh, welcome, Bwana Kioko. Karibu
Thanks.
sana. We love guests here.
Thanks.
And you're joining us from which part of the city, of the town, of the country, or of the continent?
No, of the country, of the city,
Of
from
the city.
Machakos at the river.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome so much. And thank you for the person who invited you. I'm sure you're getting to learn new things. Here we are learning to improve ourselves and become great communicators.
Yes,
So
thanks.
we'll proceed. Thank you so much. Anyone else? I know there are very many other people from different clubs with us.
Hello, good evening.
Oh, good evening. Welcome, Christine.
Yes, I already introduced myself a bit earlier.
Yes.
But I am from Kericho Gold, and this is my first time visiting Zumaridi.
Welcome so much, Christine.
Thank you.
So before we move on to introducing our TMOD, let's take care of some club business or any announcements. Evans, you can take it away.
Well, thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. So good evening, distinguished Toastmasters and honored guests. I'll be serving as your SAA Sergeant at Arms this evening. So let me take you through just a few meeting protocols that we need to observe as we proceed with our meeting. Please mute your microphones when not speaking. Cameras are encouraged where possible because reactions are part of the fun, especially when the punchline lands successfully. Kindly ensure your Zoom names follow the correct format. For role takers, hashtag role _name_club. For visiting Toastmasters, hashtag VT_name_club. For guests, hashtag guests_name. We also like to appreciate the role takers who joined us early. And finally, relax, participate actively, support our speakers generously. And if a joke takes 2 seconds too long to learn tonight, remember the theme, wait for it, the punchline. Thank you. Madam Presiding Officer, I have prepared a very wonderful way of introducing the TMOD of tonight. So I'll give you the mic, but you'll give it back to me briefly as I do our TMOD, the honors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, SAA Evans Odima. And I shall be giving you back the mic to introduce so that you hand over to the person who will be our ringmaster for the evening, who will steer the ship, keep us on track, and lickety split, the meeting will end after we've had a blast. So welcome to the floor. I pass it over to you, Bwana SAA.
Thank you once again, Madam Presiding Officer. I think there are a few things that we want to highlight. There's an upcoming TCON. The TCON is from 15th to 17th in Kigali, Rwanda. That is a wonderful opportunity for you to network and also interact with other Toastmasters from other clubs in the region, and we'll also have those visiting us from other regions as well. So kindly take advantage of that opportunity. We'd also like to congratulate all our recently elected district leaders and division leaders. And we also have clubs that have recently carried out club elections. Congratulations to all the club leaders that have been elected. Now to the man of the hour. Some people enter a room and bring energy. Others enter a room and bring ideas. Tonight's Toastmaster of the day somehow manages to bring both, with a touch of philosophy and probably a classical music soundtrack playing quietly somewhere in the background. Our Toastmaster of today or tonight, Ebenezer Makori, though insists everyone simply calls him Makori. Makori is a business strategist whose academic and professional background combines analytical chemistry, philosophy, and computer science, which honestly sounds less like a career path and more like the origin of a story of someone preparing to solve mysteries for the government. He has been part of Toastmasters for 1 year and 6 months at Anchored Toastmasters Club. And unlike many dramatic Toastmasters testimonies, Makori joined in the simple way possible. A friend from Rotaract happened to be TMOD. He attended a meeting. He enjoyed it. And just like that, lickety split, a Toastmaster was born. Who is Makori? Makori thrives in community and leadership. Beyond Toastmasters, he has served actively in Rotary for 3 years through the Rotaract Club of Nairobi Central in leadership roles involving new generations, finance, and presidency. What he enjoys most about Toastmasters is not simply networking, but genuinely connecting with people and understanding the worlds they carry inside them. In his own words, communication is powerful because it offers a window into the exciting, profound, and often unbelievable internal worlds that everyone around us experiences. And perhaps that explains his love for evaluations. His favorite Toastmasters role? The critique. Because nothing excites him more than helping speakers improve. Now, when Makori says he enjoys classical music, please understand that this is not the casual appreciation. According to him, his love for classical music is borderline obsessive and psychotic. In fact, he exclusively listens to classical music. So while many of us are listening to playlists titled Gym Motivation 2026, Makori is probably somewhere taking a thoughtful walk while Beethoven helps him analyze life. And apparently that combination feels like a vacation in Diani. Imagine that. One of his memorable speeches carried the unforgettable title, I Am But a Soulless Creature. A speech reflecting on his journey from emotional detachment towards becoming more human and emotionally connected. And perhaps that is why his advice to Toastmasters is surprisingly simple. Find a way to have fun. Growth comes much easier that way. So make Toastmasters fun, and then the growth follows. Wise words indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's meeting theme reminds us, wait for it, the punchline. And I have a strong feeling our Toastmaster of the day is about to deliver exactly that. Please join me in warmly welcoming our Toastmaster of the day, none other than Toastmaster Ebenezer Makori. Ebenezer, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Evans. For the very first time, I was tempted with beginning by the classical. I cannot believe that is me. But you know what? I do believe. To some degree, I do, because I'm the one who helped stitch a few things here and there. But thank you very much for that warm introduction. Now, putting a few things aside, the jokes aside, the kiddings aside, I have looked at the attendance and I can see people from Kericho to Kampala, from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma to Nairobi to everywhere in between. And I am excited because I can see this meeting is going to be really exciting. And because of that, or at least without assuming, I would like to know how everyone is doing. So a quick temperature check. In whichever language, how are you feeling this evening? Just type it there. If you were someone who prefer to speak, you can unmute and just say how you're feeling. For the rest of us, you can just type it somewhere there. I am feeling supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, stupendous, excited. You can do, bruh, okay. Okay. I can see the people from Kampala and Uganda are represented well by Rebecca and a couple of other people. And I love it. Bear. Okay, Evans. That's exciting. Someone to unmute. I cannot be speaking alone. I'm super excited. I'm waiting for other people who are as excited as I am? Someone? Jennifer, I see you there. I see you there. You want to say something. I can feel it.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, exciting. You're happy. Eric?
I'm feeling expectant.
Okay, expect an interesting choice of word, but all right, you're expectant. All right. Okay. As we wait for the rest to drop how they are feeling, let's delve just a bit to the theme of the evening. I know many of us might have been expecting a standard comedy of some sort. While that is true to some degree, this theme is a bit personal because I am trying to explore the world beyond numbers, beyond philosophy, beyond thinking, to the simpler and more exciting world of connecting with people. With a very simple philosophy, there is no better bridge between two people than a shared laugh. Now, to keep this theme moving, I'll be sharing a couple of short stories, punchlines I have prepared as we traverse this exciting session. And I am going to start right away with one. Are you ready? Are you ready for that story? Okay, I can see Eric nodding. I love it. The rest of you, are you ready? You know, if you're not ready, I will not tell my story. It's funny. I can just tell myself and laugh. I'm okay with that. Okay, I can see Rebecca is ready. Where the rest? All right, fantastic. Now, the story goes. This story takes me back to my childhood. I was sitting in a packed church, and it was a hot, sunny, scorching, sweltering Sunday afternoon. It was so hot that the congregation practically was melting. Then the preacher, seeing this, came in. Everyone was nodding. They are sleeping. He said that to accommodate the heat, he will deliver the shortest sermon ever in only 9 words. So he leaned to the mic and said, "If you think it's hot, just wait." Now, suffice to say that everyone on that congregation repented. Apparently, the heat is 10 times, 20 times hotter in some other place. That aside, as we wait for the next short story, let me bring to speed the guests who are joining for the very first time. This meeting is going to have 3 segments. The first one is prepared speeches. We have 5 of them lined up, so you can just imagine how exciting it's going to be. And then the second segment will be table topics. So if you're a guest, be prepared. You might be involved. And then the third segment will be evaluation. That is feedback from our evaluators and the tag team. Now, speaking of the tag team, you might be wondering, what is that all about? Tag team stands for timer, accounter, grammarian, and general evaluator. And to understand what they'll be doing, I will be calling them to the virtual stage to expound on their role. Starting with the accounter, before I even introduce him, there is something interesting about Eric. He is one of those curious individuals you will ever meet. Not just curious, disciplined, but organized. For those who are wondering how they can apply those ethos to their speaking in terms of filler words and crutch sounds, let's hear from Eric how that can be done. Eric, you're welcome.
Thank you, TMOD. I'm happy to be part of Zumaridi's meeting 122. I think I have the simplest job this evening. My work is to look at, to listen carefully to your words as you speak and pick out 3 things. Number 1, inappropriate interjections. That is filler words like so, you know, but. The second thing I'll be looking at is overused words. The only word you are supposed to use very many times today is the word of the day. All other words, use them deliberately. And the third thing I'm looking for is filler sounds. Words like eh. And instead of using these words, I encourage us to use pauses. When you use a pause, it gives you time to create what you want to tell us. When I'm called upon by the GE, I'll give a summary. We will be able to crown the king or the queen of filler sounds and filler words. Back to you, TMOD.
All right, thank you, Eric. That's an interesting way of awarding people a crown for the most usage. But okay, I will not do that. Moving on swiftly to our second role taker of the evening, who is our timer, Jennifer Isoke, all the way from Uganda. I can see that she's very equanimous, a word I usually like. Jennifer, please expound on your role.
Thank you, TMOD. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I'm going to time the table topic speakers, main formal speeches, and evaluations. I will also be alerting the different speakers of the time they are left using the different cards that is green to indicate you have a few minutes to try and think about summarizing your role. Then at halfway your time, you think of summarizing your speech. And at the last standard time, you'll be expected to wrap up your speech. Table topic speeches, maximum 2 minutes. Formal speeches, maximum 7 minutes. Evaluations, maximum 3 minutes. Over to you, TMOD.
All right, thank you, Jennifer, for a brief and precise introduction of your role. Now, before we move on to the grammarian, I would like to inform the second evaluator, that is Christine, to be prepared, as our first speaker will be Sophia. A few changes here and there. Hopefully you're ready. Now, as we move on to our third role taker of the evening, who is the grammarian, she can be described as someone who is slightly laid back. And I don't mean, or at least I mean that physically, because otherwise she is lickety split with her tongue and an incredibly quick with her mind. She is one of the wittiest people I know, because she's an absolute delight talking to. And in the spirit of balancing scales, because she tends to talk more than listening, today we are going to have her listening more than speaking. But she can't speak fast before listening more. Grammarian Caroline, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Makori, for that introduction, and good evening, everyone. I am Kangai Kirimi and the grammarian for the evening. What does grammarian mean? It's pretty two-word, it's pretty self-evident, it's pretty intuitive. I'll be listening for the creative, colorful, and correct use of the language throughout the meeting, as well as introducing the word of the day. You've all seen it, you've all been bamboozled by it. Let me lay it to you. The word of the day is lickety split, which is an adverb. What does lickety split mean? It means very fast or very rapid. An example in a sentence is, which I hope is a prophecy: the meeting ran over time during the prepared speeches, but lickety split, our Toastmaster of the day, got us back on track. Another example is the speaker delivered punchlines lickety split, one after the other, leaving everyone floored. It sounds like something an Oxford grandmother would say in the Old West, right? But trust me, it's a fun one. And tonight, use lickety split naturally in all your speeches, evaluations, and table topics, as well as roles. I'll be listening closely, but don't you worry, I won't correct you lickety split. I'll save it for my report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Makori.
All right, thank you very much, Karimi. You know, that word is very interesting. Lickety split. Our grammarian has encouraged us to use it appropriately. However, I'm really tempted to, just use it. It's lickety split. It's very interesting. But anyway, moving on swiftly to our last role taker of the tag team, the general evaluator, Anna, who will be our chief observer of the evening. She is the epitome of charisma, charm, confidence. And you can just tell she's well suited for the role of the evening. Anna, please take the stage and introduce your role.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, my bright fellow Toastmasters. I am Hannah, and I'm honored to serve as your general evaluator to today's meeting. My role will be, along with the team of with evaluators, to give evaluations. The team of evaluators will give evaluations to our speakers. Of course, always evaluations intended to elevate the capabilities of our speakers. At the end of the session, I am going to give a report, a general evaluators report, based on the amazing and wonderful things that you all are doing at this wonderful club. And of course, along with areas of recommendation that I am going to provide with you all so that we can even be better next time. And as we say, take the club to another level. Always remember, fellow Toastmasters, the purpose of evaluations will be with the aim of elevating anything that's happening, elevating the capabilities of our speakers. I wish you all a very fruitful session, and let's enjoy and have fun together with our amazing, phenomenal Toastmaster of the day. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. TMOD.
All right, thank you very much, Anna. That was a lickety split introduction of your role in your characteristic way, charming. I love it. Now we move on to the first segment of the meeting. As promised, we are here. Time has flown. Lickety split. Our first speaker of the evening is Sophia Wangui. If you were to use the big five model to describe who she is, you'd say that she is open to experience, agreeable, and highly conscientious, a trait that has made many people misprofile her as being highly extroverted. The reality is she invests more effort to make it look effortless. Now, moving on from her to her speech will be the evaluator who will introduce us to that. The evaluator is Christine. Christine, are you ready to do that?
Yes, I'm very much ready.
All right, perfect. Take us away.
I thought that I was going to be the one to introduce her, but you've given her such a perfect introduction. And just to add something to the introduction that she gave me, she says that to maintain her mental clarity, Johnny Walker has nothing on her. She enjoys those long, steady walks to keep her mind clear. So I thought that was something that was very peculiar, apart from her being a great financial professional, working with the national government with structured spreadsheets. She says that at the core of her heart, she is all about empowering the youth and spreading knowledge. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we already know that we are in for great speeches this evening, and I am honored to be evaluating the first speaker who is going to take it off and bring it to the highest level. I hope the other speakers will match it. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Miss Sophia, Toastmaster Sophia Wangui. She is attempting her level 3, I believe, of her presentation mastery pathway. The purpose of her project this evening is for her to learn the different communication styles and identify her own style. Toastmaster Sophia Wangui, market tales, style, skills. Market tales, style, skills. Toastmaster Sophia Wangui, welcome.
Thank you, evaluator. I hope I'll manage to deliver my speech before the power goes up. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Have you ever considered that the greatest barrier to a successful transaction isn't the price, but the currency of your conversation? We often view communication as a simple exchange of information. A linear transaction from point A to point B. And direct communicator, I have learned that communication is less like a straight line and more like a crowded marketplace. Bustling, unpredictable, and filled with diverse interactions. Today, I want to recount my recent visit to Kogowea Market, an environment that pushed my natural communication styles to their limits and forced me to confront my limitations in supportive engagement. I'll approach this at the three subheading. 1, my default mode. 2, the gap. And 3, how I usually bridge the gap. On to the first part, the default mode. My natural inclination is towards the direct and analytical styles. I value efficiency, data-driven decisions, and bottom-line results. When I walked into the market last Saturday, I didn't go to experience it. I went to execute a task. I had a spreadsheet, style list, a specific budget, and a strict timeline. I approached the first vendor. I need 5 kilograms of grade A onions, I stated. I'm looking for a price of Kenya shillings 150 based on the current market trades. I also asked, are your onions firm and free of moisture? This is the analytical style in action, focusing on specifications and quality, moved straight to the point without the fluff of small talk. To me, this is respect for time. However, the vendor, a middle-aged woman who had been chatting with the previous customer, was looked shaken. My lack of a good morning wasn't efficiency to her, it was coldness. On to my second point, the gap. My greatest challenge lies in the supportive style, as I had earlier stated. This style prioritizes harmony and emotional connection. That is the social glue of human interaction. If the market where relationships often dictate the quality of produce, my lack of supportive communication was a tactical error. When I reached the fruit stall, the vendor began telling me how the recent rains are causing havoc through his farm. My internal monologue categorized this as non-essential data. I interrupted to ask about the price of mangoes. I missed the opportunity to build a rapport by ignoring the people element. The seller ended up treating me like an anonymous transaction. I realized if I continued like that, I was actually hindering my own goal of efficient procurement. Onto my third point, how I bridge the gap. To bridge the gap and ensure effective communication, I've learned to adopt 3 frameworks. 1, I identify who is my receiver. As in, is my receiver an initiator, a supportive communicator, an analytical communicator, or a direct communicator? Next, number 2, I adjust the volume. That is, I turn down on my intensity. For instance, on that day, when I approached the spice section, I smiled and asked for a recommendation. This small shift opened a door. I received a sample and a cooking tip no data sheet could provide. The third part is the style switch, such that to connect with supportive styles, I slow down and validate their feelings. To connect with initiators, I allow room for them to give stories. To connect with my peers, the direct and analytical peers, I still believe or provide the why. In conclusion, the market is a microcosm of the world. My analytical mind still loves the spreadsheet, but I've learned that to read, I must step out of my comfort zone. By incorporating supportive warmth, I left the market with more than just vegetables and fruits. I left with human connection. As Paul J. Mayer once said, communication, the human connection, is the key to personal and career success. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Sophia, for such an informative speech. Communication is the key to human connection. Truer words have never been said. Let's appreciate Sophia for sharing such wonderful lessons about adaptability, understanding the person you're talking to so that you can reach an accord in a way. Waiting for people to appreciate her. I want to remind you of that saying that clap for people when you are supposed to be on the other end so that they will clap for you the other time. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Now, moving on swiftly to our second speaker of the evening, who is none other than Winfred Okoth. Now, for those people who do not know Winfred, she is quite the talkative person, religious, but always present. Sometimes people assume that she can, by the virtue of her being a talkative person, that she will start a conversation with anyone. However, don't be fooled. If you've not come prepared with your icebreaker, you'll have to have that conversation elsewhere. But anyway, our evaluator is none other than Baluma, all the way from Zumaridi Toastmasters. Baluma, are you there?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Take us away.
Thanks for the great introduction of the speaker, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This evening I have the privilege of introducing the next speaker, Winfred Mwaniki. He's giving a speech under Level 1, Project 3. Within the speech profile, introduction to vocal variety and body language. The purpose of her speech is for her to practice using vocal variety and body language to enhance speech. She has chosen to only be evaluated on vocal variety for her speech. I will therefore begin looking at how well organized her speech is. I will listen to how she uses her voice to communicate and enhance the speech. Lastly, I invite all of us to consider that her speech may either be humorous, informational, or any style that she chooses. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, embarrassing moment. Winfred Mwaniki. Winfred Mwaniki, embarrassing moments.
Oh, hi, Faith. Hi. Oh, sorry. Hi. This is not Faith. Sorry, I must have confused you for my classmates. No, I don't know Faith. Were you in such and such a school? No. Sorry, I got the wrong person. Must be. Hi. Hi, Preeti. Hello. Oh, sorry, I'm on a phone call. Oops, sorry, I thought it was me you were talking to. Toastmasters and guests. Do you remember the last time that you just wished that the earth could open and just swallow you because you just couldn't take the embarrassing moment? The pressure was too much to just keep an image, especially if it happened in a public space. Toastmasters, that was me a few weeks ago. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. With my excitement, about to hug a former classmate, just to realize they are not the ones. The embarrassing moment. Not to mention the times I have excitedly responded to a person from behind. Hi. Sorry, just to realize that the hi pretty wasn't meant for me. It was meant for someone on a phone call from the other end of the call. I haven't exhausted the many times maybe you called, excuse me, I think there's something on your teeth. Straight from lunch, you just had a wonderful engagement and everyone was laughing. Everybody was bursting with laughter. You think you're funny until you meet your friend or colleague at your desk and they point out, oh, actually, check your teeth. There's some green. I can see. You thought your story was funny, only to realize that it is not the fun, the humor in the story. It is something about your grooming or some greens you left on your teeth after lunch. Toastmasters and guests know that at one point or the other, you have found yourself in such a situation or even a more embarrassing situation. Then what do? First, laugh it off. Come on, nobody is perfect. Laugh it off and move on. Remind yourself that people will move on. They will definitely forget. Number 2, avoid playing it over and over. Move forward. Think about something else. Distract yourself. The more you replay the scene, the more you feel more embarrassed. And who knows? The people that met you that time, even forgot about it. After all, it is human to err. So dust yourself. Pick yourself from the dust and move on. Laugh it off. You will get over it. Number 3, adopt the who cares attitude. Well, I fell down, my slit extended, I covered myself in shame. Who cares? Anyone can fall in front of Times Tower. Anybody can triple and fall. Anybody can slide or leave the sole of their shoe right in the middle of mud and move forward. Toastmasters and guests. The 4th point is to remind you that it is very important to mind your own business keenly before you jump into conclusion like Toastmaster Winfrey. Before you run with your hands open, ready to hug a total stranger just to find out they are not your classmate or the person you thought they will be. That will save you a lot of embarrassment. So Toastmasters and guests, laugh it off. Remind yourself that everybody makes mistakes. You're not perfect. We are not perfect. Going forward, take up the who cares attitude and move on. Toastmaster of the day.
Wow. Thank you, Winfred. All this time, I thought people were laughing because the jokes were funny. Apparently, it's a green sukuma wiki in your teeth. But anyway, thank you, Winfred, for saving us from future embarrassments. And I would like to encourage every one of us to clap and appreciate Winfred. Otherwise, you'd be embarrassed next time. Or if I mention your name, you'll be embarrassed. So just clap before you get embarrassed. All right. Wonderful. Love it. Thank you. Moving on swiftly to our 3rd speaker of the evening, none other than Madam President. And there we go. If you are curious who our next speaker is, I will divulge some secret to you. She is calm, she is warm, she is welcoming, and with a lot of soft power. If you know her, you know that's definitely, absolutely, indubitably the case. But to further introduce her and our speech is the evaluator, Pamela, all the way from Kampala, Sunshine. Toastmasters. Pamela, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
All right, perfect. Take us away.
Good evening, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Anne Nkatha Mputhia, who will be sharing with us on a topic, harmony within, listening to the body's voices. Anne is currently pursuing Presentation Mastery Level 1, Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. I will be looking out for the use of her tone regarding vocal variety and the use of gestures, that is body language. Introducing Anne Nkatha Mputhia, Harmony Within, Listening to the Body's Voices. Harmony Within, Listening to the Body's Voices. Anne Nkatha Mputhia, Harmony Within, Listening to the Body's Voices. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, harmony within, listening to our body's voice. Now, mental health. Mental health has been one of the issues that has been really pressing in our times. We often ask ourselves, talk about stress, anxiety, depression, as if they only exist outside the mind. But here I am trying to understand how this came to be. And I'd like to take a journey through our body, a journey through that is connected in our biology. At the center of all this and where it all begins, it boils down to our hormones. What connects each and everything that we do is a chemical messenger that runs from the head to the toe. It determines how we feel, how we think, how it influences how we talk to people, how we respond to what the world has given us and what is around us. Now, hormones regulate sleep, as we know. It regulates appetite, how we eat, and the energy, and for most women, our moods. Our hormones are constantly at work, day to day, shaping our daily experiences. And when balanced, life feels great. But when not balanced, they can disrupt us in so many things, and the effects are quite profound. Understanding the link between how we manage our hormones and mental health is essential. Yes? And it is good to know what are these hormones. Consider cortisol. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's the stress hormone. In small amounts, it is quite helpful, keeps us alert, keeps us ready to face anything. But when stress becomes chronic, then the challenges begin. When it becomes elevated, you can see what happens to each and every one of us when we have stress. Over time, this can also lead to anxiety. I'm sure you see your bosses running around, and this is where you note in every office, even at home, that women become irritable, men become irritable. It affects each and every one of us. Anxiety is brought about by these high elevated levels of cortisol. And just like we feel stress, it is the biological chain of reaction that affects not but the brain, but the entire body in most powerful ways. Again, we have another hormone, and that is serotonin. When you feel good, when you take your walk in the bright sunny day, that feeling good is released from the hormone serotonin. But when levels are low, again, you can have stress, you can have fatigue, depression, and so it's important to take that walk. Take that walk with people. Sit, laugh, expose yourself, eat well. That's another key area. Eating well. When was the last time you took a cake, ice cream? This releases the feel-good hormone that enables us to moderate our well-being, gives us a sense of stability, and we can naturally boost it just using the sun. Now we have two hormones that are very common, very, very common, and that is estrogen and progesterone. And these play a very big role, especially for women's mental health, though these keep on fluctuating, and our men can attest. There are days you find your colleague very happy, the next day she's sad. Now all these change through the various cycles when they're pregnant or during the menstrual cycle. These are triggered during these episodes and they are released. And so this is one of the things that can cause our moods to change and affect our mental ability. So that's where you have someone feeling sad when nothing has happened, they're irritable, and often these experiences are dismissed, just hormones. But in reality, there are powerful influences that should not be left not monitored. The connection between hormones and mental health is very key. It's very big, and it helps in keeping us moderated, our moods lift up, and so mental health and hormones are very directly linked biologically. And so what does this mean? It means mental health is simply a matter of willpower and positive thinking. We can take a walk, we can monitor our hormones, just to push our mental health up, just as it is a natural part of our human understanding. And it calls for people to be compassionate with one another. Those who are struggling in depression, those who are taken to be too sensitive. And so it's important to recognize us and be empathetic rather than judgmental when you see people struggling with these issues, as hormones are part of it. And closing, mental health and hormones are deeply intertwined. We remind ourselves biology is not destiny, it is simply part of the story. And we are opening the door to healing, resilience, and hope. Because when we speak our minds, we listen. When we listen to our bodies, then we're able to speak out and inform people. And when we listen back to our bodies, then the journey of healing begins. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Am I the only one who feels like if we were taught biology that way in high school, we would have liked it better? I think I would have. Definitely would have. Let's appreciate Anne Mpothie for such an informative speech on how our mental health and our hormones are intertwined. Listen more. Speak out your issues. And most importantly, empathy over judgment. I'm waiting for all of you to clap. We have to appreciate these lessons. You will not get them randomly out there. There we go. Awesome. Now we have one more speaker. However, she will be coming right after the table topics. So be prepared. Be on the waiting, as one more speech will be coming up. Now, before we go to the table topics, because I know some of you have started having some mental health problem, the anxiety is kicking in, but it's exciting. Don't be worried. However, before we get to that, our table topics session, I have one more short story. So this story is about a person who was walking in the jungle, and all of a sudden she had some rustling behind. Looking back, she saw a lion, and she started running as fast as she could. However, after running for a while, she got tired, and all she could drop down to his knees and started praying. The prayers goes, "Dear Lord, please make this lion that is chasing me a Christian." Suddenly, the lion stopped as well. The lion dropped to his knees, put the paws together, and prayed, "Lord, bless this meal which I'm about to have." As I want you to ponder on that, we move on to our table topics session, and our table topics master is Carol Sarah, all the way from Kasarani Toastmasters, the president of Kasarani Toastmasters. You can describe her as confident, courageous, loyal, open-minded. However, she is not one for small talk. If you don't have your philosophy prepared, please don't engage her. Moving on swiftly to our table topics, I would like to virtually invite Carol Sarah. Let's appreciate her. Even if you're scared, please appreciate her. Maybe she will not pick you. If you clap for her, maybe she will not pick you. So let's do that, Carol.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I am hoping that we are having a punchy evening and lickety splits. I will go directly to the table topics, and this session is meant for us to be able to prepare thinking on our feet. What does that mean? In many situations in our day-to-day lives, you are asked a question. Tell us what you think about this. What do you think about another thing? Without knowing, these are speeches that we deliver without any preparation, and that is impromptu speaking. Now, Toastmasters and guests, I'll be carrying you through this session, and I will start with the seasoned Toastmasters. I will ask a question, and then I will go to guests. Going on to our first question, and this will go to one George Arogo. Please confirm that you are in the meeting, please. George Arogo? Okay, I see he says my background is noisy. Worry not, because I have one Leah Minja. Please confirm that you are in the call. Leah Minja? Okay, I seem not to have a response for that. We can go to one Belton. Belton, I had seen you in the call. Please let us know whether you're still in. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And our first topic is, her speech content was great. However, it did not punch as I expected. Belton, have you found yourself trending on such thoughts when listening to a speaker? I repeat, her speech content was great. However, it did not punch as I was expecting. Have you found yourself trending on such thoughts when listening to a speaker? Over to you, Belton.
Thank you, Toastmasters and guests. Yes, it has happened that I've listened to a speaker and I'm waiting for that real punchline. And it has unfortunately happened a few times, and you walk away deciding for yourself what she wanted to say or what he wanted to say. So yes, I've experienced that. And at the same time, I've experienced people who have spoken and have hit it so right, the punchline so right, and you feel the message has landed. Thank you.
Madam Topics Master.
So, Titi with us.
Just a moment, I confirm. All right, it seems like she has dropped off the call. But keeping on the spirit of table topics, I have a question. I have to think of one. This question goes to, okay, question first. Think of a moment where life happened, you were unhappy with how it turned out. But later on, after reflection, you realize that perhaps there was something funny about it. So the question is, thinking back on one experience that happened in your life, you are not happy about it in the moment, but later on you realized that there was something funny about it. Please share on what it was. This question goes to Sharon Mogi.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Oh yeah, it has happened to me that sometimes I experience something and I so do not enjoy it, but later on, when I look back, I try to see the humor in it or the blessing, as they usually say, that things can come as blessings in disguise. So it has happened whereby you just sit there and you wonder, this I haven't liked at all. For example, a journey being cancelled, and then later on you find that had you continued on that journey, perhaps you wouldn't have reached well, or something bad could have happened, or simply you could have delayed in another country, slept over, and all that inconvenience. So you just get to realize that, oh yeah, this was a good happening. It was indeed a blessing in disguise. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you very much for that, Sharon, for that. Apparently, God works in mysterious ways. Or whoever the deity you attribute that to. Moving on swiftly to our third question, which is, if you could change one thing that happened to you, what would it be? Either positive or negative. If you could change one thing, one ending. Or is she back?
She's trying to log back in. Let the third question go to Winfred. Winfred, of course.
Winfred, she spoke, right?
Yes.
Or a different Winfred?
No, the same Winfred. She has a project that requires her to be a table topic speaker.
All right. Okay. Winfred, if there is one thing you could change based on the ending, what would it be? And why?
One thing I'll change based on the ending is the color of my skin. This is why. I am black. Some people will call it dark. Well, let me stick to black. And being black, I come from a community on the mountain where our height doesn't go beyond 5.5. If you're lucky, you could have a few 5'8". But imagine, I'm among the tallest in my family. Well, wanting to have tall, and handsome one, I could only get one from the lake. And tell me why a dark-skinned person like I am only find options all the way across the counties to the lake. Now you see the ending? I have got a few other black-skinned, little, handsome and beautiful. If I was to change the color of my skin. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Winfred, for that. Apparently, the darkness has squared. It's midnight, completely in the midnight. But you know what? We are happy for the silver linings of the night. Thank you very much for the table topic speakers who engaged us with that. Let's appreciate them for the improvisation, for the courage, and everything in between. I am looking at you, you one person who is not appreciating them. You calling, I'm seeing you. Let's appreciate them. All right. For those who are feeling slightly worried, don't be. We have come to the end of that session. You can now relax. If you are thinking of dropping off the call, don't. We've come to the end of that session. You can relax. All right, now we are back to the one speaker we had remaining, and that is none other than Rose. Rose, can you confirm you are ready for the speech? I saw her joining. Rose, are you there?
Let's take on to tip session as she sets up.
All right. Now that we do have that, we move on swiftly to our tip session section. And our tip session master of the evening, mistress of the evening, is Paula Gift Isabirie Mubiru Namayanja. To those with only 2 names, you can complain to Paula. Apparently, she took all the names that you could possibly have. But the names aside, Paula is the VPPR of Moju Toastmasters. That is Vice President Public Relations of Moju Toastmasters. She is working in the Regulatory Affairs Office and balancing life as an employee, employer, a wife, and a mother, in addition to being a social animal and a community spark plug. She is the co-founder and director of Girls Unstoppable Uganda, where she is, or they are, supporting the marginalized adolescent girls to complete secondary education. She is pursuing our presentation mastery pathway level 5, and she will be delivering a tip session on mentorship and mentoring. So are you ready for the mentorship thing? For those who've been looking forward to this particular moment, your time is here. Presenting to you to the virtual stage is Paula Mubiru Namayanja Isabirie, on all possible names you could think of. Paula, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, for that warm introduction. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. It's exciting to be back to Zumaridi. I hope I can share my slides quickly and we discuss mentorship. Okay. Oprah Winfrey said, a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. If you have been in Toastmasters, I want to believe you've been assigned a mentor and that person has supported you to see the best in yourself. How many of us here have had mentors on our journey of Toastmasters? By show of hands, you can raise your virtual hand. Oh yes, I can see some people acknowledging that they have had mentors on their journey. Who is a mentor? Mentor is more than just someone who teaches you. It is a person who takes interest and helps you on your journey to become a better person. They become a guide, a role model, they can be a coach, and sometimes they even turn up to be trusted confidants. That is why Toastmasters considers mentorship as an important part in the Toastmaster journey and ensures that everyone is assigned a mentor. My slides have hung up. Kindly just allow me to share them again and we will continue. Just a minute. Allow me share them in that format. Mentors usually offer knowledge, insights, and perspectives plus wisdom, and they help us to become more successful. Many of us are on this journey, and today I want to put my specific emphasis on the people who are doing the mentorship before I bring in the mentee. it is important for us to understand the Toastmaster program and learn the customs on the program so that we are able to support those who are joining the club to be able to achieve the objectives as to why they have joined the club. The mentor helps the new members to gain confidence and participate even more actively by setting for this member goals and helping them to follow through in order to achieve their objectives. How is this done? Introduced to this club by my mentor who had attended several meetings with the club, and they came to me and told me about going out to other clubs in order to participate more and be able to achieve the goals that I had set for myself. It is therefore very important for you as the mentor to understand where you are taking your mentee and quickly helping them to learn the skills that they are supposed to attain on their journey. Mentors are usually more experienced members. That means you cannot find somebody who has been in the club for only 1 month joining and being given that role of a mentor. Usually they have experience and they also join that journey to be able to refine their skills further, because in Toastmasters, we are developing skills and becoming better people. Therefore, they are there to help us refine our skills as well as help us to learn new skills on that journey. As we progress, we begin to refine advanced communication skills, we acquire leadership abilities, we are able to learn how to evaluate, and that way we develop the confidence in handling the different responsibilities that are in Toastmasters. One thing about Toastmasters is that growth never stops. Therefore, a mentor helps you to move from simply participating to truly excelling in whatever role that has been assigned to you. Do mentors have any benefits? I want to believe they do. Mentors get to learn from the mentees. In my culture, there is a saying that even a young person can drum for the older person and they dance, meaning there is always something new that you can learn even from your mentor. They help us to remain active and productive. In all this, they are supporting us to gain fulfillment as we help and support one another. They also help us receive recognition and respect as they support us on the journey. There is something powerful about pouring into another person's journey, because as you teach, you sharpen your own skills, you're able to encourage others, and that helps them rediscover their purpose and their own journey. As John Maxwell said, one of the highest values of mentees is the ability to see ahead what others cannot see and to help them navigate a course to their destination. Therefore, mentorship creates that cycle of continuous learning. How does a club benefit when we have mentors within us? When mentors become part of the club culture, clubs are able to gain more members. Clubs have happier members. We have higher member retention because people stay when they feel supported. I am sure there are people who have spoken today because they have been supported by their mentors and they are busy pressing on and pushing to achieve their goals because of the strong mentoring culture that has been cultivated in the club, where members are not just attending meetings, but they are developing and connecting and thriving together. You find that that club is healthier and there are more relationships that have been built, and it is not just routines. Therefore, the club has a lot of benefits when they are mentors within. What are some of the qualities of a mentor? To become a mentor, you must be available. When I was younger, I belonged to a group where they used to say, you must be fat. And in being fat, it meant you have to be faithful, you must be available, and you must be teachable. These are very good skills of a mentor. A mentor must be patient. Sometimes you will drag somebody towards a particular cause. But if you are impatient, you will not be able to get the best out of this person. As a mentor, it's good to be sensitive, culturally sensitive, culturally polite, to listen and understand the person that you're doing life with. It's also important to be respectful. Learn that you are dealing with a person who has their personal opinion, and therefore respect it and don't just impose your opinion on them. Mentors are supposed to be flexible. I have seen my mentor making time for me out of the normal working hours because she has understood the role of being, or the quality of being flexible. You must offer the supportive environment that we require to grow in and flourish. But above all, you must be knowledgeable. It is not nice to be mentoring somebody and you don't have knowledge about what you are mentoring them in. Mentors must be confident, good listeners, and have concern for others. Great mentors do not just dominate conversations, they guide carefully, they understand people's fears and goals, and they guide with empathy. Mentorship is not just about creating copies of ourselves. It's about helping others become the best versions of themselves. When you are given this role to be a mentor, it can be a mentor of a club, it can be to an individual. What are some of the ways you can start the journey? The first meeting you have with this individual, sit with them and orient them to the club customs and procedures. Different clubs run their business differently, and it's important for your mentee to know how you are going to run, how the club runs its procedures. Explain to the mentee how to sign up into Toastmasters, how to sign up for the different roles that have been that may be assigned to them along the way. Help your mentee with their icebreaker. The icebreaker is usually the first speech somebody is giving to their club. As a mentor, it would be nice for you to support them to come up with the best icebreaker such that they enjoy the first time they are speaking to their audience. The first stage is all about reassurance. As you meet this person, reassure them and give them the confidence that they will be able to benefit from the club that they are joining. That encouragement alone can make the difference between someone who is about to quit and someone who is discovering their potential. Therefore, have that meeting and let it be a reassuring meeting to the member. At subsequent meetings, make sure your mentee is aware of the different resources. In base camp, there are different resources the mentee can work with in order to come up with their different projects. Support them on that journey. While they deliver their speeches, you might not be their immediate evaluator, but provide that positive feedback to them. Help them understand responsibilities that have been assigned with them and support them even with their speeches and even other assignments along the way. Over time, it's important for your mentee to know how you have benefited. So tell them how you have benefited. Take time to invite them to even other events beyond the club meetings. It can be a speech contest, it can be networking sessions, fun sessions. Invite them along and do life with them for the time you assign to them. Acknowledge progress. When the mentee tells you, I have completed level 1, I am now moving to level 2, acknowledge that progress and celebrate with them. Then also explain officers' roles. It is nice for a mentee to move from just being a member of the club to taking on club officer roles. So explain those roles to them so that they can understand them. When it comes to speech contests, explain the contests to them and encourage them to even sign up for the contests. I remember when we had our first club speech contest, my mentor encouraged me to sign up. She was available to listen to my speeches as I was preparing before the contest, and it gave me a lot of encouragement. There are moments I was feeling discouraged, I was feeling like giving up, but because of their support, I managed to turn up for the speech contest. Describe to them the organization, explain to them more about Toastmasters, and help them understand what it is all about. Before I close today's tip session, I also want to speak to mentees who are on the line or on the call this evening. As a mentee, when you are assigned a mentor, it's important for you to desire to learn, be eager to learn. Take the responsibility as a member to learn from your mentee. Be receptive of ideas that your mentor may share with you over time. Get to learn as much as possible. Be open to new ideas as they share the new ideas, as they walk with you to different meetings. Be open to new ideas because that is what is going to be, that is what will make you better. It is also important for you to be loyal to your mentor. Understand them, walk the journey with them, and finally be grateful for their time that they are putting in to support you. The willingness to learn is what transforms guidance into progress. So it's very important for you to be willing to learn from your mentor. In conclusion, mentorship is one of the greatest gifts we can offer to one another. Because through mentorship, we share experiences, we learn together, and help one another succeed. It's important to know that that relationship should not last forever. Most of the Toastmaster mentorship relationships last for 6 months. You therefore have to have an endpoint to that relationship so that it is not forever. Remember, mentorship is the bridge between potential and possibility, and each one of us can guide another person, encourage them, and inspire them to become a better version of themselves. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Paula Obiru. Gift Isabidi Mayanja, all the way from Kampala Sunshine Toastmasters Club. Let's appreciate her for such an informative presentation. Informative for those who want, or at least are curious about the mentorship journey. Persuasive for those looking for mentors. Inspiring for those who want to elevate their journey. Just before we say, did I hear correctly that the mentor has to be fat or something? Okay, for those who are not, don't be discouraged. Apparently, fat is for faithful, valuable, knowledgeable, and everything in between. Thank you very much, Paula, for that session. Now, before we move to the next speaker, Rose, I see Rose is in the house. I'd like to confirm first the polls are ready for the table topics before we move on to the last speaker so that we can launch the polls for the speakers. Rose, please confirm that you're ready to take on the next session. What is the next?
Yes, good evening. Is it late?
All right.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, I can.
And can you see me? I need more light.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. You can see me?
Yes. Curious about the background, but yes, we can see you.
Okay, let me try here.
Yeah. We can see you. We can see you. Where you
You
are,
can
it's
see me.
perfectly okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry. I'm not
All right.
in my usual abode.
Always working with everything. Adaptable, flexible, everything in between. All
I
right.
really thought.
Okay, as the last presenter, the tip session mistress gets ready to again introduce our next speaker. Let's launch the poll for the table topics. I hope our VP SA, the man with many arts, Ivan Sodima, is ready for that. All right, perfect. Just to remind you, our first who is appearing first on that list, Winfred, was our last speaker who talked about something could change. Apparently, it's the color of something. I've been warned not to say again midnight, so I will not say it. I said midnight, but I'll not say it again. Yeah, I'll try very much not to say midnight again. And then our second speaker, who was Sharon, talked about a blessing in disguise. And then finally, Belton. Worst, where is your punchline? Perhaps it's something that can be changed. All right, let's do it. Let's do it as quickly as we can. And as the polls are streaming in, I hope the evaluator, who was our last speaker, or at least last presenter, Paula, is ready. Paula, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you very much.
Perfect. In the spirit of wearing many hats, fitting perfectly. I love it.
It's my distinguished honor this evening.
Please proceed.
Okay, it's my distinguished honor this evening to introduce our next speaker, who is the Area Director, Area 1, and the servant leader from Zumaridi. She will be delivering her speech on Presentation Mastery Level 4, Project 1, where she will be delivering a speech and receiving evaluation, and then applying feedback in that evaluation to deliver her speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges when she or he speaks outside of a Toastmasters meeting. Our speaker this evening is going to do 2 speeches at the same time. She's going to do managing a difficult audience as well as a tip session in the same meeting. Her speech is entitled Closing the Cell, Turning Guests into Members. Let's put our hands together and welcome Toastmaster Rose to the floor. You are welcome.
Toastmasters and guests. How many of you, when you first went into a Toastmasters meeting, silently asked yourself, do I belong here? Do I feel welcome? Toastmasters, I would say, is not just about giving speeches, but it is about transforming lives. As a Toastmaster who is sitting or standing, can you tell me how many of you have welcomed a guest to your club and the guest remained and became a Toastmaster? I like thumbs up. Can you kindly show me by thumbs up? Regardless of your club, how many have invited a guest, and they remained in your club? I'm waiting for those hands. I just want thumbs up only. Thumbs up. I take it that none of us have invited guests and transformed them into Toastmasters? All right. Let's look at it together. How can we transform guests to be Toastmasters? This happens when we make people feel welcome. I'm very sure as we began the meeting, many of us felt welcome. Otherwise, we would not still be here. We need to sell the experience. Tell them your story. What has made you stay in the club? We also need to have a quality club that begins on time and ends on time. You need to have lively posters, inviting posters, like the one we had today of Makori. When I see Makori, I would just come because of his name. Makori is a brand. I hope you know that, Makori. You pull crowds. Let's be people who are exciting. Let's have people with prepared speeches and let the meeting run smoothly with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Let the guests feel welcome. Again, I will ask, thumbs up. How many felt welcome today when they joined Zumaridi? How many felt welcome? Oh, I can see it now. Belton, thank you. Kyoko, thank you, thank you, thank you. Paula, thank you. I can see Zumaridi, you're on the right trajectory. We need to make people feel welcome effortlessly. And in order to have it as a win-win situation, we need to support the guests even as they come in. When we have short form of Toastmasters of the day, and we say TMOD, we need to let them know what that means. For example, we need to make them happy. We don't need to pressurize people to join. I would give you an example. I was in this meeting this morning. We have the international director who has come on board, and he's on his way to Kigali for TCON. And there was this meeting this morning. And there's somebody who's very interested in joining Toastmasters. He's been dodging, but somebody brought him on board. And I was quickly trying to grab him for one of my clubs. And he was ready. I was even pulling out the form for him to sign. I was showing him the payment details. And then I remembered that this Better Speaker series teaches us not to bring people under pressure. Because what happens? They will disappear. We don't want them to lose out without them completing what brought them and without them discovering their potential. We have Maya Angelou who tells us that people may forget what you said. People may forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It would be good to highlight the benefits of joining Toastmasters. Can we have one person tell us what have they gained from Toastmasters? Quickly, somebody unmute and me know, what have you gained from Toastmasters since you joined? Just in a minute. Christine, Kericho Gold, what have you gained since you joined Toastmasters? Kindly let us know.
I have gained a lot, including being comfortable, especially in these spontaneous speeches. I am a calculated, analytical person. I do not like being ambushed. So I really love the table topic sessions and the way they challenge me to think on my feet and not think over prepare.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. And you look so composed and put together, Christine. If I was a new member today, I would be transformed. And indeed, I would want to join Toastmasters. And when I grow up, be like you. We grow up in our leadership. We develop self-confidence and self-esteem. Can you imagine the way I feel so confident as a person? And when I was told to do an icebreaker speech, I was shivering and it was online. Can you imagine that? Somebody who even trains. It gets scary. But what happened with time? I got comfortable. I'd like us to use the acronym CLOSE to help you remember the areas that would help you in bringing in and closing a deal. We are calling it a sales deal. C will be for compare. We need to tell people that Toastmasters offers an affordable lifelong journey. It's not for a single day. And for L, what do they have to lose? L stands for lose. You only lose fear and you lose self-doubt. Why don't we look at O? It's opinion. Ask the guests what they think. Evans, what do you think about having joined Toastmasters? Evans of Zumaridi? What do you
Joining
think?
Toastmasters, I believe it's one of the best decisions I've made in my life recently. Boost my confidence, gotten the chance to meet so many people. Like Paula here, I didn't know could meet so many brilliant minds. It's a journey and we're still growing. Every day gives you an opportunity for growth. And I believe
wow,
there's still room for more.
Wow. Can you guys give a clap for Kristen and for Evans? They have boldly nailed it. I found Toastmasters intriguing. And I agree with both of you. I find that as I journeyed through, I learned from others and I was able to share my experience, and it came from the heart. After we've brought people on board, we need to make them continue to feel welcome. We need to find out the why. Why did they join Toastmasters? Why? And the why changes, just like marriage. You marry for love.
What about you? What about you? Why did you join? What have you learned so far?
That sounds like Evan. Thank you so much for that question. It is extremely relevant. And I would say I joined a little by coercion. I had a friend who used to shrub, and she would shrub the word shrub. Shrub means that she was not speaking English as English. And I saw the transformation in her, and she rose to the top position in the organization. And I got curious to know, what is this that she has done that has made her get to that point? And for that reason, Evans, I joined and I stayed. And I was coerced into being a vice president, public relations, imagine at my age. And I got it and I hacked it. And with that, it was lickety split. It went well. I was welcomed well, assigned mentors, and I became president and moved on to area director. I felt immediately included. I hope that answers you, Evans. People need to feel valued. Do you feel answered, Evans?
Of course,
Evans?
I do.
Oh, fantastic. People need to feel valued. I believe I've given you the main elements of how to make people comfortable. The S in the close is give your story, which is transformational. And the E, show them what the Toastmasters journey looks like. People will stay when indeed they feel valued. And as I come to a conclusion, every confident speaker that we admire was once nervous sitting quietly in the audience. And the difference was that somebody welcomed them, invited them to stay, and followed them. Follow up your members, presidents, VPEs, vice presidents, education, give them a mentor to work with them. And immediately they come, help them navigate and start with icebreaker and move forward before the next cycle.
I actually disagree with that, because why would you follow up with me? I just want to enjoy my life. I don't want anybody to be following me up. I just want to be left. If I decide to join, I will join. If I decide to give a speech, I will give. I don't need a mentor. I don't need anyone to follow me up.
Oh, Mr. Makori, I'd like to give a hand clap and a thumbs up for you. And that's what Toastmasters is all about. We learn about leadership and how to handle the different characters we have in leadership. We learn how to manage conflict, and we learn how to manage diverse opinions. I agree with you. There are those who don't want to be followed up, and so we treat them the same. The same way when a man comes late at home, he is asked, "Where were you?" And they don't seem to like that question from their wives. So the wife has to know how to navigate and how to manage that situation. And for Makori, who does not want to be followed up, I would give him his space. And I would gently find out what is it that Makori would like and that would make him stay on. I would give Makori roles. In fact, I would suggest him for the next president, and followed by area director. And I know that he would lead us so well. Thank you very much, Mr. Makori. And I will end with an engaging question. What if the next guest who walks into your club is a future leader, speaker, or even a world changer? And you, Makori, you, Evans, you, Christine, are the ones who make them stay. You'll find that if the guest feels welcome and valued and inspired, many membership decisions will happen lickety split, and you will have a new member and close the sale, thus turning the guests into Toastmasters. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience. Excuse me? Thank you. Do you have any questions as we end? Any questions? All right. I'd like to see you put this in practice and grow your numbers. Thank you very much. And back to you, Toastmaster of the evening, Mr. Makori. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Eddie Rose, for that wonderful, informative, engaging, entertaining presentation of the tip session. Now, just to make everything clear, number one, for the guests, you saw that people were interrupting Eddie Rose. It's not that we are rude or anything, just a preparation on what is out there in the real world where people are adamant in whatever you're presenting. And then on the other side, please don't interrupt me. If you interrupt me, I will throw a stone. I'm not working on that project. Thank you very much. Now, moving on swiftly to this last segment of the meeting, which is feedback from both our evaluators and the tag team. We will be starting with the evaluators, and our first evaluator of this evening is Christine. Christine, just a moment. Now, if you've interacted with Christine, you will know that she'll say something in the line of, just because you are reserved, or if you're a reserved person, it doesn't mean that you are shy. It simply implies that you're reserving your energy and your words for the right moment when it matters. And this is one of those moments that really matters, because she has to give feedback to our first speaker of the evening. Christine, over to you.
Thank you. Indeed, a leopard cannot change its spots. If you listen to the introduction that Toastmaster Sophia was given, she is, on one hand, a very analytical, rigid, and almost spreadsheet-like structured. At the same time, she's just a humble human being, down to earth. She comes here, gives us a speech, What is the topic of her speech? Her analytical, structured communication style. And what is the setting? A marketplace where everything goes. Now, it is a beautiful embodiment of the introduction she gave us, and then she brought it to her speech, her entire personality. One of the things that she excelled at in this speech is structure. Anyone listening to your speech could follow along. At some point, you could even tell us, I'm going to give you 3 points, and you go along and follow it through. I don't think your points were all over. Anyone listening to you could flow with your content. Number 2 that you excelled at is value addition. You know, your project, it stated that you're supposed to learn about different communication styles and identify yours. But what did you do at the end? You gave us a value, something extra. You told us, okay, now that you've learned about all these topics, all these styles, what if you find yourself in a situation where you have clashing communication styles? I thought that went beyond, and you gave your audience something even more valuable than what they expected. Another thing that I really loved about your speech is the use of direct speech. You could tell us the communication between you and the sellers in the market. It naturalized your speech. What would I want you to work on? The flow of your presentation. Unfortunately, I don't know if it is because of the circumstances, the electricity going off, and you are thrown off. At some point, your flow was affected, and it sounded like you were reading. So I would want you to work on that and embrace challenges. It is okay if you couldn't see your visuals, but you could have still just showed up as you are. Number 2, tonal variation. When you're telling us about the reported speech, I would have expected something like, I asked her, oh, what are the prices of these potatoes? But then your narration tone was almost similar or the same as the tone of your speech. Overall, I think you captured the purpose of your project. You identified your communication style. You identified the various communication styles, and you even went beyond and gave us a value other than what was expected of you. So congratulations. Thank you.
All right, thank you very, very much, Christine. Let's appreciate Christine for that. And those who are wondering, I think now you have a better way of describing Christine. Calm, composed. And you can logically tell that she is a logical person and therefore detailed oriented. Thank you, Christine, for such a perspicacious evaluation. Now, before we move on to the second evaluator, I'd like to request the SAA to pull up the poll for the speakers before we forget that is. All right, perfect. So Sophia Wangwe was the first speaker who talked about communication style as the evaluators expounded on, and then the second speaker was second speaker was Anne. But I think she was third, but okay. Anne Puthia, who is appearing second on our polls, talked about anxiety and its correlation, or at least mental health and its correlations with hormones. And then our third speakers appeared on the polls. Winfred Okoth talked about embarrassing moments. I think you do remember that. And then lastly, Rosa Dunda talked about closing the sales in the most appropriate way without forcing and pressuring the other person into oblivion, so to speak. All right, as the polls keeps moving in, we move on to our second evaluator, who is none other than Baluma Okada, all the way from my goodness, the L's and R's are becoming quite challenging. But anyway, Baluma Okada, all the way from just fast. Your moment is here. Please take us away.
These are some of the embarrassing moments that
It is.
Wilfred was talking about. Very interesting topic. Very, very interesting. Presented because Wilfred presented a well-organized speech where she was able to use her voice, communicate, and enhance the speech, which was very, very humorous. I believe we all enjoyed it. We enjoyed every bit of it as she started her speech, where she excelled by giving us humorous examples of embarrassing moments in a public space. Wilfred reminded us about being a presumed former classmate. You remember that example? Only to find out that she was not. Moments of high pretty moments, only for her to discover that, oh, maybe it was not meant for her, it was for someone behind her. She talked about someone speaking to an audience and people laughing all through, and she believed that, wow, it must have played out very, very well. Only for a colleague to come and indicate, now kindly check the green on your teeth. Do you remember this examples? That is a great way of capturing our attention. Wilfred, that was a great way of hooking and starting your speech. You eventually, after the examples, you went and elaborated clearly how each member of the audience could be able to overcome these embarrassing moments. For instance, you gave us examples of moving on and forgetting. It is never all that serious. Avoid replaying the moments by laughing it off, adopting a who cares attitude. And importantly, you reminded us that it is important minding your own business. So, in a way, that reassured all the audience that it was possible to be able to overcome this embarrassing moment. I loved how you positioned your camera, whereby we were able to follow your emotions and smile as you carried us through your narration. You may want to consider working on improving the quality of your voice at the start of your speech, because then it sets the tone of how you narrate. This is the hook energizes your speech as you take the audience along with you. The second area, when, for instance, you're talking about, you can laugh it off. I would have appreciated that maybe you illustrate it in such a manner so that the laugh comes out and it somehow gives some sort of a relief out of the embarrassing moment that one will have gone through. You could also have lowered your volume and even be expressive to show the embarrassment in different examples that you share. I invite you to challenge yourself by exploring different ways of varying your vocals and tone to express emotions in different moments of your speech to avoid the eliciting feeling of repetition, especially as you deliver your punchline when you're calling the audience to action. Overall, the speech was greatly delivered, and I achieved it as you enjoyed your humor on real life moments that we easily connected. I invite you to embrace the Liberty Split to your next project. Thank you.
Thank you, Baluma. We were hearing you from a tunnel. I think the microphone was trying to embarrass you, but we still heard you. The speaker, I believe, got the valuable feedback that they were hoping to get. Moving on swiftly to our third evaluator of the evening, who is none other than Pamela Tambula, all the way from Uganda. Someone that you can describe as loving, caring, ambitious. But if you say innocent, you are absolutely wrong. She is not. However, that aside, let's hear from her and the feedback she has for the speaker. Pamela, over to you.
Thank you so much, TMOD. I really enjoyed listening to and speech. It was quite informative. It had a body, so it had an introduction, it had a body, and it had a conclusion, and it was talking about the mental health challenges. So I like that in her speech, she was using her tone very well. She could emphasize the points, and for some parts of her speech, she would also use gestures. For example, when she was saying territory, and she would elaborate, eating well, progestin, all those things. However, I felt like you could have used your tone more to emphasize a point. For example, there is when you said people would be depressed and they would be sad, and I noticed you didn't tone down your voice to say sad, or also use your body language to express that, because we communicate through our whole body communicates what we are saying. So I felt like in some instances to project what you are saying, maybe like a strong point, you could have raised your voice higher, or for some instances you could have expressed your emotions more, like when you're saying some hormones would make someone excited. I expected you to say maybe very happy, and you could use that in your body and someone could understand someone is happy, excited, or sad. Yeah, something of the sort. Yeah, then taking a walk, you could have maybe emphasized by illustrating. Yeah, but aside from that, it was a very well delivered speech, quite informative. And I know if you just address some of these areas, you're going to be a very good speaker, and I'll be looking forward to hearing more speeches from you. Yeah, thank you so much. Over to TMOD.
All right, thank you very much, Pamela. Let's appreciate Pamela for that evaluation. And true to the way you could have described her, it was a loving way of presenting those recommendations in a way that is easier to apply. Let's do that. Let's appreciate her. All right, moving on swiftly to our last evaluator of the evening, who is none other than Paula Mubiru Gift. Is that here? I love those 5 names, but okay. Paula, up to you. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Makori. Toastmaster Rose, that was a very well delivered and engaging speech on handling difficult audiences. One of the things I really liked about your speech was the way you interacted with us by asking questions. Like when you asked, what if the next guest that walks into your club was the next leader? This encourages members to listen into what you are sharing with them, and also to stay involved. You kept asking questions. You even asked, what have you benefited from joining Toastmasters? So your audience engagement was very good. Your speech was handling difficult audiences. I'm not sure whether your audiences were really difficult. I wish they were more difficult people than the ones that came onto the stage. But I liked the way that you respectively and calmly handled their questions, and how you respectively took their thoughts. Like when Makori said that for him, he does not want to be followed up. You clearly showed that there are categories of people who do not need follow-up. But you also showed that you take an extra mile to understand why this person does not want to be followed up. You remained composed, professional, and demonstrated strong communication and leadership skills. That welcoming atmosphere and respect and patience showed the importance of doing the same when somebody is dealing with a difficult audience. You also demonstrated very good vocal variety, the change in the tone, but also you helped maintain the interest in us listening to what you are presenting to us on how to conclude that cell. For improvement, I would encourage you to consider using visual aids because these have a way in which they strengthen your message to the audience and they help us understand the message even much more clearer. I know you were in transit and your camera positioning was not so good. This made us miss out on some of the gestures and movements that we would have enjoyed because body language contributes a lot to the messages that we communicate. Overall, this was a very well-delivered speech, engaging. You showed confidence, you respected the people that interrupted you during the session. And if you can only incorporate visual aids into your speech, plus use of a good camera and positioning it, we will just continue seeing you growing bigger and greater. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Right, thank you very much. Paula Moberu, gift. I shall not continue. Let's appreciate Paula for that astute and sagacious observations and feedback to our speaker. Now, before we move on to the latter category of the feedback, that is from the tag team, I'll be inviting the general evaluator as she prepares herself and the tag team to do that. I'd like to request the SA, the VP events to launch the poll. And as the poll is being launched, I have one more story. Now, this story is from... Okay, this story is from Isadora Duncan. She was one of the famous dancers in the 19th century, and George Bernard Shaw, one of the most brilliant minds and writer, again, of the 19th century. So Isadora Duncan wrote to George Bernard Shaw telling him that imagine a child with my beauty and your brains. So you should remember that Isadora was one of the most gorgeous people of the 19th century, and George Bernard Shaw, the brilliant mind of the 19th century. So she wrote saying, imagine a child with my beauty and your brains. And then George Bernard Shaw, being the analytical and witty person that he is, wrote back and said, yes, but imagine a child with my beauty and your brains. End of the joke. Back to you, or at least handing over the virtual microphone to the general evaluator, Anna.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests again. So before we move on to the final segment, which is the General Evaluator's report, I'm still in the mood of the Toastmaster of the Day. Allow me to kindly request the timer, the EDA counter, Toastmaster Eric, to deliver his report, please. Over to you, Toastmaster Eric.
Thank you, GE. It has been a fantastic meeting. Very hard to pick filler sounds. I have only 3, so it means we don't have the queen of or king of filler sounds. However, I would like to crown the queen of poses. Toastmaster Winfred had a very excellent use of poses. So it means I could not pick any filler ones or filler sounds. The poses were on point. Toastmaster Sophia repeated I 2 times. Toastmaster Anne, the president, speaker 3, repeated very common. She actually said very common, very, very common. Instead of using very, very, you can just say very common. When you repeat the two phrases, very common and then very, very common, we pick it as a repetition. And lastly, table topics, the first table topic speaker, Belton Mobiro, used the one so. That is how excellent we have grown to in terms of avoiding filler words, filler sounds, and inappropriate interjections. Back to you, GE.
Thank you very much, Mr. Egg Counter, and for authentically listening to our verbal accidents today. And now we'll move on to our grammarian. Who do you mentally correct people's grammar sometimes? If yes, please type in the chat, I fix people, because this is what our grammarian is going to do tonight. And protecting the English language from all of us tonight is Toastmaster Carol. Toastmaster Carol, may I kindly invite you on our virtual stage to give your report as grammarian. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Hannah, for scaring away people from using the English language. But no worries, I'm not here to only correct, but to laud and applaud everyone. For starts, the word of the day, though used sparingly, I appreciate those who managed to sneak it in. And with that, we had Toastmaster of the Day use it 4 times. So congratulations, Makori. You get to keep your hat as penance. And for the table topics, Master used it once, the grammarian twice. You see, I was counting lickety split, and we had Rose, a speaker, use it once. Now, how did we lasso the English language today? Admirably, our Toastmaster of the Day gave us some delightful wordplay, such as equanimous and indubitably, meaning calm and without a doubt, in that order. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for the wordplay. I am still waiting for the punchline, and I can't wait for that uppercut. We also had the phrase, the market is a microsome of the world, meaning a smaller situation that reflects the larger world. I love how scientific language titrated itself into the Toastmasters meeting today, and enjoyed the technicality. This came from our first speaker. Notably, Winfred gave us a figure of speech that was covered myself in shame, which added a mosaic of color and emotion to her speech. How was the meeting in terms of command of language? Was it exceptional? Unequivocally so. I was in awe. We had humor, reflection, strong word choices, and expressive language throughout. Thank you all for gracing the stage with your words. And now, as we land this play, let me pass it back to our general evaluator for the guaranteed punchline. General evaluator Hannah Lickety Split, back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Grammarian. And now, before we emotionally recover from these reports and constructive feedback, we go to the one person who kept us honest with time again, because evaluations may be powerful, but the timer remains undefeated. May I please invite our timer, Toastmaster Jennifer, on the virtual stage tonight to give us her report. Over to you, Toastmaster Jennifer.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Lickety split, let me go through the summary report of how time was managed. With the table topic speeches, we had 2 people who are within time. That's Sharon Muji at 1 minute and 1 second, Winfred Okoth at 1 minute and 45 seconds. Unfortunately, Belton Mobiru fell short of the standard minimum talk by about 59 seconds. The minimum time is 1 minute. So he didn't qualify. Then when we go to the formal speeches, we had 3 speakers who kept within the standard times. That is Winfred Okoth, 6.14, Sophia Wangai, 7.34. Sorry, that is not standard. We have Anne Mpothia, 6.35, Rose Odundo, 13.54, and Paula Mobiru, tip section 16.02. That was way out of the standard time of 50 minutes. For the evaluators, we have only one defaulter, Bokada Gulume, who spoke for 4.03 minutes. Then Christine Kericho, 3.19 minutes. Pamela Tambla, 2.28 minutes. Paula Mobiru, 3.28 minutes. That was within time. And I would like to hand over to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Taima. And now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, we need someone watching everything authentically with eagle eyes, the FBI of Toastmasters meeting, which is the General Evaluator. Welcome me on stage. Toastmasters and guests, what a vibrant, energetic, and value-packed meeting we experienced today. As General Evaluator, it gives me immense pleasure to evaluate not just the speeches, but the overall meeting experience. And I have to say, tonight's meeting felt absolutely alive. First of all, let us appreciate our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Makori. That energy was consistent throughout the session from the beginning till the end. The meeting remained engaging, dynamic, and absolutely well connected. The Toastmaster of the day did an excellent and remarkable job keeping the momentum alive and ensuring that no dull moment existed in the meeting. Another very strong point was communication. Updates were consistently shared on the group, ensuring that members and guests remain informed and connected. This created anticipation and professionalism way ahead before the meeting began. The flyer was beautifully prepared and shared well in advance with clarity on the theme. It created excitement and gave everyone, Toastmasters and guests, a clear idea of what to expect during the session. Along with that, the word of the day being shared ahead of time was a wonderful touch because it allowed members to prepare themselves and actively participate during the meeting. And I have to mention that atmosphere created before the session officially started, the music playing before the meeting added warmth, positivity, excitement. Sometimes these small touches create big impact, and this one certainly did. Another commendable effort was the sharing of role scripts. This supports role players, especially newer members. It reflects teamwork and a spirit of enabling one another to succeed because we know teamwork makes the dream work. The Zoom background was another amazing touch. It strengthened the branding of the club and created visual unity and professionalism throughout the session. Well done for that attention to detail. Timing tonight was absolutely excellent. We had a packed agenda with 5 speakers. Yes, 5 speakers. And the meeting remained structured and smooth. That deserves appreciation from everyone involved in the planning and execution of the session tonight. One thing that stood strongly for me was the culture of inclusion because as a guest, I felt warmly welcomed. The club created an environment where everyone could participate, contribute, and feel involved. And that sense of belonging, and even more beautiful, was seeing Toastmasters from different countries, different districts, different area coming together in one meeting. That is the spirit of Toastmasters, learning beyond borders, growing together globally. I appreciated the teamwork amongst all role players. The transitions were smooth, evaluations were encouraging, and members showed genuine support for one another. The atmosphere remained respectful, uplifting, and absolutely motivating, with that excitement created by our Toastmaster of the day. And now, as Toastmasters, certainly we celebrate strength, but we also look at opportunities for growth because excellence is a continued journey. One area of improvement could be creating excitement even before the meeting. When I say that, I mean because the Toastmaster of the day already had such a continuous energy during the session, it would be absolutely wonderful if from time to time some motivational or messages related to the theme were shared on the group before the meeting, during the week, anytime randomly to build anticipation and engagement. Secondly, the agenda could be ideally shared at least one day before the meeting to help guests and members prepare themselves mentally for the flow of the session and, of course, to increase participation. Another opportunity for the club is encouraging more networking before the official start. I would encourage a few minutes of informal interaction with every single member and guests, encouraging them to turn on their cameras, to unmute, to warm up the room, make them feel comfortable, and strengthen connections amongst members across borders. Additionally, it would create an even more personal touch if all the guests' names were acknowledged at the beginning of the meeting. Hearing one's name creates an immediate sense of belonging and makes guests feel truly welcome into the Toastmasters community. Another suggestion would be to encourage more interaction in the chat section and camera engagement during the meeting. For example, every single time, come on, let's hear some clap in the chat because we're not going to move forward if you don't participate. We're going to give a little prize, a little reward for someone who is going to engage throughout the chat the most. Things like that, so that we know people are turning off their camera and sleeping behind the scenes. Small audience interactions can make virtual sessions feel a lot more lively and connected. Finally, a short recap of highlights at the end of the meeting to leave a stronger, lasting impression on everyone present. But overall, tonight's meeting was energetic, organized, inclusive, and full of value. It reflected strong leadership, teamwork, preparation, and most importantly, genuine Toastmasters spirit. To all the role players, speakers, evaluators, organizers, and guests of this wonderful club, and our Toastmaster of the day, Makori, thank you for making this session memorable. And with that, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, this concludes my General Evaluators report. I hand back the floor to you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Anna. I would like to encourage all of you to open your chats and your videos to clap and appreciate our general evaluator for such an copacetic feedback. I mean, when she started, I was scared when she mentioned that she'll be the FBI, but we can attest to how she neutralized that with the warm, loving, charming, charismatic nature of how she presented that feedback. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. As we roll to the final seconds and minutes before I hand over back to the presiding officer, I have one more story. I promised I have a lot of them. Now, this story is about a farmer who was involved in a car accident. He was taken to court, and the lawyer immediately asked, "Why did you tell the traffic officer that you are okay?" Well, the farmer replied, Thank you, Timer. The farmer replied, "The officer, when he arrived on the scene, he saw my cow. It had broken its legs. It was wailing and anguishing in pain. So what did he do? He drew out his gun, shot the cow, and killed it because it was suffering. And then he moved 2 steps forward. He found my dog. It has broken its 2 legs. It was also languishing and wailing in pain. To remove it out of its misery, he shot it and killed it. And then he moved over to where I was lying. I was also suffering. But then he was still holding his gun, and then he asked me, 'Sir, how are you feeling?' To which I responded, 'I have never felt better my entire life.'" Letting that to sink in. Bringing everything together, we've had at least a plethora of speeches, some inspiring, many informative, but above all, entertaining. And I will not add much to that. I would rather live with a simple philosophy I usually try to live by. Life is one big comedy show. It's upon you to find the punchline, regardless of the setup. Because if you look closely enough, you will always find little moments of humor, little moments of happiness, little moments of joy. And perhaps the greatest skill one can learn is the ability to find and derive joy in every circumstance. And as the wise sages from time immemorial have said, The little trip around the sun is very short, too short to entirely spend it on seriousness. It has been my absolute pleasure being the TMOD of the evening, and at this juncture, I'd like to return the control and the power of the meeting to our presiding officer, the President Ann Katha Boothia. Over to you.
Wow, wow, wow. What a session. Thank you to our TMOD. You have guided us very well throughout the meeting, and it's an honor that you joined us for this meeting. And to everybody else, we really appreciate for your feedback, for your energy in the room. And I would like to invite our SAA to just tell us before we close. We need to celebrate our stars for the evening. We did polls. And so I'll hand over to our SAA, Evans or Dima, to just give us, announce the winners.
Thank you, the presiding officer. And also the TMOD, that was a wonderfully run session. We've been planning this for months, so I'm glad it finally came together. So to our best speaker, our best table topic speaker, and our best evaluator. These awards for the best speaker goes to Winfred Okoth. Kindly put your hands together for Winfred Okoth. Best table topic speaker also goes to Winfred Okoth. Again, Winfred Okoth has carried the double. Wow, wow, wow. That was no mean feat. And the best evaluator goes to one and only, the lady with so many names. As the TMOD said, if you don't have more than 2 names, probably Paola took the rest of the names. The best evaluator goes to none other than Paula Mubiru. Kindly put your hands together for Paula. Congratulations to all. You will be receiving your certificates in our meeting planning group. Thank you. And to the rest, in Toastmasters, there's no competition, but there's always an opportunity for growth. Back to you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for participating, for the winners. We applaud you. And we'd like to thank you all for coming along, sharing your stories, sharing your experiences, just taking the time to join us and making this meeting ever so wonderful. And with that, I would like to ask for one big round of applause for each and everybody, beginning with the TMOD, to all the speakers, evaluators, the tag team, let us all, and our guests. Let me not forget our guests for everything that you've learned. We appreciate. And we've learned something new today from our tape master, Madam Paula. Thank you very much for that. And to our AD, Rose, thank you for joining us and sharing that experience with us. I'm sure we've learned something. So on behalf of the Zumaridi Toastmasters Club, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing again your stories. And thank you for making every meeting a memory for us. Tonight's theme, what is your story? And you answered beautifully. This meeting of the Zumaridi, meeting number 122, is hereby adjourned. Thank you all for coming. For those who are going back home, traveling, safe travels. For those who are home, say hello to your people and letting them letting you to share your evening with us. Thank you so much and have a good night. Until we meet again, lickety split.
Zumaridi members can remain behind for a bit of discussion on club business. The rest, thank you and do have a lovely night.
Thank you and good night.
And unmute so you say something before you leave.
Something. Goodbye.
Something
Goodbye, good
indeed.
people.